one thing is very clear. You need to have a solid business plan, business strategy, then your pitch deck, your FAQs ready. And then the other thing is unit economics. You should know very well how your unit economics scales to your bottom line and top line. So that is very, very important.
Welcome back to another episode of Founder Spotlight series on behalf of Tracxn, where we invite several startup co-founders to share their journey, their insights, and some sort of advice to the youngsters of today who have startup dreams. Well, today with me is Mr. Saurabh Shankar, who is the director of ConstroMat. Hi, Saurabh. Welcome to this program.
Yeah, hi, Sopian.
Great. I welcome you on behalf of the entire Tracxn family, and thank you so much for making some time out of your busy schedule. Okay. I'm Supain Dasgupta, and I'm heading this startup vertical over here. Now, let's get started with this entire conversation now. To start with, Saurabh, you can just introduce yourself for our virtual audience and share some background and backstory of ConstroMat to start with.
Sure. So, hi everyone. This is Saurabh here, and I am one of the founder at ConstroMat. So today we are going to talk about how ConstroMat began, and that is a very interesting story. So, little bit about myself. I have spent about 25 years in IT industry. Recently, I was working with Amazon Web Services based out of London. The story starts with in London over a conversation with my friend Abhishek Kumar, and he's a very close friend and a batchmate. And about Abhishek was in a corporate life. After that, he ventured into setting up the business. This is one of the largest business he has set up for cement supply chain, and it is one of the largest in Eastern India. So coming back to Supen, how we started, Abhishek described the entire world to me, his business world to me, and I was completely couldn't believe that. The entire transaction which was happening on phones, then cash transactions were happening, and all handwritten documents. So there were no, in fact, the digital trail of these transactions, and even the GST bills were not there for unorganized materials like sand, aggregates, bricks. So the entire supply chain was working on two things. One was trust, and another one was a personal relationship. The supplier used to give him order, give him a priority allocation on the basis of they knew him for a decade. And then contractors gave him lakhs of order uh, just based on his words. So this was the scenario. So and still the trust was one of the most valuable asset in the business. A supplier. What I saw two things simultaneously. One was a massive inefficiency in the supply chain, and then the other part was incredible asset built over a decade with the ecosystem, and that technology alone could never build it. So one day Abhishek came and said, "Help me digitalize this." And honestly speaking, I always carried the desire to come back and do something meaningful for the country. So we launched ConstroMat, a digital platform built on the top of this trust. So even before embarking on building this platform, we tested the market by going to our ecosystem of suppliers and customers, and mentioned to them, what if we come with a one unified platform uh, where you can buy and sell all the building materials. So they were very receptive to idea, and it was kind of a win-win for them. They were seeing the entire digital India story, as well as some of them even came and said that, okay, we don't know how to use the technology. We learn from first generation of our children and the second generations of the children. So that was very interesting part. And finally, what happened was our thesis got validated. We did about 2.5 crores in FY25. This was our first year. And this year, we have closed with 7.3 crore. That is over 3x growth. So all of this has been on a thin capital of 55 lakhs infused by a couple of investors in a professional network. And and we had done some skin in the game kind of funding in the first year, and with 20 lakhs promoter pulling in that. And that is how we are building ConstroMat today. Happy to continue with further questions.
That's great, sort of fantastic to hear all these stories. Okay, that is really very much encouraging for all of us, and also for our audience, right? Uh, Second thing which I wanted to know from your side is, in the next 1 year or so, what is going to be the most exciting part about your company? We would love to hear from your side.
Sure. Thanks, Supian, again. So we are targeting 52 crores ARR in FY27. That is like 13x of our what we have done last year. And we would be expanding into four Eastern India states like Bihar, UP, Assam, and Orissa. And that is where the maximum infrastructure growth is happening by the government as well as the private sector. So this is our stretch target, and we are looking at, and we consider ourselves at the inflection point. So other thing, what we are looking at introducing private labelings and contract manufacturing that will help to increase the margin. And also we are looking at high margin product like products in the home furnishing, expanding to sustainable products where you can build your infrastructure with less of emission of energy and then water, all that stuff by introducing admixtures, chemicals, slag cements. These are some of our focus area. And the third one is we are building platform adjacencies like embedded finance, royalty scheme, all of that we are doing for our supplier ecosystem. And I'm super excited about the technology roadmap, which we have with industry specific use cases powered by AI, IoT solution, augmented reality. I'm going to discuss more about that. So this is what I'm excited about.
Got it, got it. Taking the last point forward, okay, as far as the impact of AI is concerned, okay, what kind of impact you would have seen in the last 1 year of your journey, ever since AI has been on the boom, right? Have you implemented certain things in the ecosystem or maybe in the operational stuff? Something that you can talk about. We'll be very much happy to listen to that sort of discussion.
Sure. I have been in the thick of AI technologies. So I've worked with Amazon where we were experimenting a lot of things. So from my perspective, I see AI more as an enabler and empowering the entire ecosystem of construction industry. And it would be really the force multiplier. So as I said earlier, that we have an exciting roadmap. So we are working on a few interesting use cases. To name it, like we are working on one is that ease of use of our platform. So we are working on introducing WhatsApp interface because most of our customers are acquainted with the WhatsApp interface. So by next month, we'll introduce that. The second thing is that further extending into, we are looking at voice interface so that customer can order by speaking on the in our mobile app. So that would be like using a multimodal AI, like speech to text, and the brain being LLM, and then again text to speech. So we are planning to do that. And then another area which we are looking at, as the construction material gets dispatched through the lorry, we'll take the using AR, augmented reality, will take the photograph at the source and the destination to ensure that the same materials is delivered. So, and then the last thing what we are looking at is definitely ERP integration, where we can maintain customer supplier ledger on a platform. So that's what we are looking, and I'm super excited about it, and it's gonna be all done in the next year.
Got it, got it. Great to hear that. Let's go back to your first year of operations now. Okay, when you just started, maybe it was in a very concept stage. Okay, we would love to understand from your side what were those initial challenges which ConstroMat would have faced way back when you started with your first set of operations.
Sure. I mean, we had a lot of headwinds in the industry. I mean, and as we would be one of the startup coming out of Jharkhand, Bihar. So you would have heard about different stories about startups in rest of India, but it is a unique story. So we faced one of the challenge was price volatility. Due to macro condition, the construction material cost could go up and down very frequently. And then the price variation within the sector, different supplier used to go different prices. So the second challenge what we faced was from unorganized sector. That was about as I mentioned earlier, unorganized material like sand, bricks. Then you have aggregates, stone chips. These were all bought in cash. And when we went to the supplier, we said that we are going to provide the GST bill. They were so happy. So we could solve this problem. And then we had, I mean, that this industry was driven by phone calls, verbal commitment to deliver it. And then when we explained them the platform and the features, they were very excited, they loved the idea. And that is how we got also excited. And the other thing which is very important, I mean, you had small suppliers in the industry and region. So one supplier used to sell only aggregates, but they had a customer coming in and they used to say that I want not only aggregates, I want sand, bricks, cement, all of that. And he was not able to supply that. So he became a customer of ConstroMat. And then this entire thing worked as a flywheel for us. So this was some of the challenge we could initially see and handle. And right now we are also working on, like you would know that we have a long credit cycle in case of construction material. So we are working on an embedded finance where we are tying up with trades platform, which is launched by RBI and some fintech organizations, so we can give the credit to the customers as and when they need.
Understood. Quite interesting what you spoke just now regarding all the challenges which this company has faced during the initial stage. My next segment would be something around the fundraising journey, right? Which is also very important and interesting for all of us to understand and analyze how the psychology of fundraising is there in the mindset of any of the co-founders of any of the early stage startups, right? Would love to hear from your side in terms of your fundraise journey. I can see that you are looking for raising seed, right? What is your psychology behind fundraising when you are in front of any investor, right? What actually goes on in your mind, right? If you can throw some light over there.
Yeah, definitely. So our journey, I would talk about our journey, how did it started, and that is pretty much I see across the industry of the startup. So we started with skin in the game, like founders pulling in initial funding in the year one, and that is where we started building the platform. And then second year, which was FY26, we brought in couple of investors. They infused the capital, pre-seed capital, and that helped us to really ramp up. And then this is our third year where we are looking at seed investment. And that is why we are looking at seed investment is because we have a massive plan to scale our platform and our business across various states. So that is a kind of, entire flow we have built up, and I consider this as one of the good things to go about, so that it shows the investor that you have a conviction, you are have a skin in the game. So that is how we are going about.
Got it. Got it. Taking the same conversation ahead in terms of benchmarking activities. When I say benchmarking, it is like benchmarking your fundraise mandates versus what has happened in the industry pertaining to the similar kind of companies who have raised funding in the past 10 years, right? Have you done some sort of benchmarking in your sector? Or if you have done some sort of analysis around your competitors in India or abroad, right? We would love to hear from your side.
So, I mean, I can give a kind of a prescriptive guidance here. I mean, what I have seen and observed when we have been interacting with various investors. So, one thing is very clear: you need to have a solid business plan, business strategy, then your pitch deck, your FAQs ready, and then the other thing is unit economics. You should know very well how your unit economics scales to your bottom line and top line. So that is very, very important. And beyond this headline numbers, you should know your KPIs, business KPIs. So, for example, in our case, what is the average ticket size per customer? What are the numbers of repeat order? What is my acquisition cost of customers? These are very, very important thing, and these are the things which we call it as a mechanics of business, and has to be properly tracked and communicated, and always course corrected. So that is my view here.
Got it. Got it. Interesting. From a very general perspective, what do you feel as a founder of your company is the right time to go for funding? Because most of the times, this is a question which I think keeps hitting a lot of early stage startup co-founders. Right? When is the right time for me to go approach VCs or angels? What do you feel about that?
So I think, as I mentioned, we need to have a skin in the game. So initial years have to be put in with your funding, and then followed with a family and friends funding. And then when you have to really scale and go massively into the market, that is where I think you should go for an investor funding. And my point is that you have to have a frugal mindset to do, and you should treat all this money as your own money in terms of spending. So that frugal mindset with doing more with less is what I propose here in terms of taking up the startup.
Got it. Got it. In terms of the role that Tracxn would have played in your fundraise journey or maybe market research story, right? We would love to hear from your side. How did you utilize the database or the platform of Tracxn to your best of the benefits?
Okay, that's a good question. So we have been using extensively. I myself have has been using Tracxn, and so we have got a, good database in terms of not only potential investors. We are scouting to them, and also we always look at the good engagements which are happening through our live deals on Tracxn platform. So we reach out proactively to those investors. So it has been of immense help to us. And we are in constant touch with your team in terms of, any help required. Like, we were exposed to industry report. We looked at some of the industry reports there, which was available at the platform. So I think we are very happy with Tracxn so far, so good.
Great, great, great to hear that. My last question for today will be, what is your advice for a young startup leader, okay, or maybe somebody who is in his late 20s and who has a dream of starting something on his own, right? What kind of advice you would love to share?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, and I come with a heavy experience. India is I would consider India as a massive market, and market absorbs and accepts a mistake. So don't be afraid of making the mistake. So that is number one. Second, I would say that someone said, and it has stuck to me, the biggest moat for the startup is you and your team, speed of decision. And when I say speed of decision, I mean that 99% of your decisions are reversible. So then the third thing is execution. So you should always consider art of possible there, and definitely having a unique insight about the problem you're trying to solve is very, very important. Third, you should be honest with your stakeholders and really be hardworking. Fourth, like look at basically a capital is a scarce. So having a frugal mindset and doing more with less is what is required in the startup period.
Great advice, Mr. Saurabh. Thank you so much for these golden words. I'm sure a youngster who will be watching this video later will surely be benefiting from your words, right? That's all from my side for today, Mr. Saurabh. Thank you so much for giving us your precious time. Okay, we will surely be getting back to you. Okay, very soon. Okay, covering your next year of journey, maybe. Okay, when you achieve the dream which you spoke just 15 minutes back, right? We'll be back very shortly, right? Thank you so much one more time. Okay, and see you soon.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.